So to define what a haplogroup is, we have to start with the variants, right? Um, so variants are fundamental to genetic analysis. So just as a refresher, um, our our DNA sequence can be illustrated by a series of letters like A, T, C, and G, right? These are these represent base pairs. And so you can learn more about base pairs and stuff like that on our online course, Ancestry Tracing 101. But in 1981, the mitochondrial DNA was sequenced, and the result is known as the Cambridge reference sequence, right?
Mhm.
That's used as the baseline sequence in genetic analysis. Each individual is then compared to this reference sequence. And if there's a difference in your sequence, oh, here we go. So this is a good visual. Your sequence is then compared to this reference sequence, and there's nothing special about this sequence. It's just a arbitrarily chosen sequence of somebody of European descent. Just kind of how science goes to a certain extent. Those European populations are the ones that are the most studied, the most money are put into them, and things like that. And so this is kind of one of those uh, um, things that come about because of that. And so anyway, it's nothing special about the sequence. It's just a particular person that they picked and used as a reference sequence. And so every other sequence is then compared to this sequence. And if there's any differences in the sequence, then that's what's known as a genetic variant. And a variant is just a change in the DNA. So as you can see here, for this person, person A, they have a A, where the Cambridge reference sequence has a T, right? So that represents a change or a variant. The next one they have is a T, where the Cambridge reference sequence has an A, right? And then lastly, they have a C in a base pair position where the Cambridge reference sequence has a G. And again, these are what are known as variants. And you can see this same type of variant notation that you see here at the bottom of the figure in your results letter, in your MatriClan results letter. Let me be specific. And so these sets of variants, or a group of variants altogether, are called a haplotype, right? And a haplotype, a haplogroup, is then defined as is defined as a haplotype, again, which is just a set of variants, a haplotype that is shared among a group of people who are similarly categorized. And that categorization could mean they're from the same family, the same ethnic group, country, region, continent. And each haplogroup has a required set of variants. So for our pretend example here, you'd have at least you need to have 3 of these required variants in order to be designated the L3B1C haplogroup, right? So whatever other variants you have, if they don't fall into another haplogroup, they're going to be discounted. Only these are going to be considered when you're assigning haplogroups. And so generally speaking, when you look at the way the haplogroup is written, like with the letters and the numbers, the first capitalized letter usually indicates the macro haplogroup, and that's the continental or regional origin of the haplogroup, right? So L haplogroups are seen in Africa. And the rest of the letters and numbers after that capital letter signify other variants along that haplogroup lineage, right? And these other letters and numbers after that capitalized letter, they don't have any like specific meaning. And like a few of you may have seen these haplogroup migration maps, like the map on the left, or the haplogroup distribution maps, like the one on the right. And these figures kind of capture what haplogroups are predominantly used for, which is just illustrating human migration patterns and continental or regional haplogroup placement. So that's just like where you might find a haplogroup in a specific region.